districts beyond Mukono, Kampala, and Wakiso will not be reached. So you should organize. You must be doing very correct feeding, and we are considering farmers who own at least 5,000 above. So for farmers keeping 5,000 below, we ask you to wait a bit. We will have another program for you. For now, the focus is on farmers who are having a so hard of at least 5,000 and going above. So that's, I think, a good announcement. And another issue is that we still buy pigs. We must understand that there is an outbreak of African swine fever in most of the districts in Uganda. So there has been an inflow of very cheap pork in the market because many farmers have been doing panicky sales. This is something bad. If you understand biosecurity, there is no need for you to do panicky sales. If you implement proper biosecurity, you can keep your animals healthy. And I can tell you, we are projecting surge in pork prices, an increase in pork prices very soon, because many farmers, if they have not lost their pigs to African swine fever, they have sold their pigs because they fear the farm to be attacked by the African swine fever virus. So for those who are keeping pigs, who are still having their pigs, I request you to implement proper biosecurity and to make sure that you keep your farms safe. You keep your farms safe because you're likely to benefit from a good price sometime to come. I advise you not to buy pork from pork joints and take it to your farms, or eat pork and go to your farms, because most of the pork consumed currently is actually sick pork. So if you went to any abattoir near you, you'll find out that pork is more cheaper than it has been. And this is because there is a lot of sick animals in the abattoirs. So you must be very careful if you're a farmer. And that's why we have not been so consistent on the market for those who enjoy our pork, because we can't really compete or buy sick animals for the better of the industry. So I welcome you all. For those who just joined us, my name is Christopher Mulindwa. I work with Uganda Limited, but also a technical support for new science concentrates here in East Africa. I'm also supporting Choice Genetics with the distribution of quality breeds, quality breeds and quality semen. So both liquid and live genetics. So we are supporting on that and consultancy. So that's all I do. What I do rotates around the pigs, and the best answers you can get from me must be related to pigs. I can't give very nice answers when it comes to poultry, cattle, or any other livestock species. But pigs, I'm very sure that I do understand what I'm talking about. So let's move into today's coaching session. Today we are looking at pork and breeding pigs marketing. As you may know, for those who participated in our first coaching session, we looked at the business of pig farming. And I do explained that pig farming has three main products where you can where you can earn money. Mr. William Bukuru, unfortunately, I don't speak Irutoro. So I ask you to bear with us. You listen to English. I can't speak Irutoro. So I'm using English because it is our official language. So you probably get an interpreter or I don't know, but I'll be using English. I can't afford speaking Irutoro. So I was saying that pig farming has 3 main products, and those include pork. So some people might strategize to rear pigs and produce pork for the pork market. We also have breeding pigs, which we divided into the different sections that those who participated can remember, where we have those who are distributing grand parent stock, those who are distributing parent stock, and probably a section that is not very popular of distributing finisher pigs, commercial pigs, pigs for fattening, to finish and then go to the slaughter. And the last main product was the boar semen. Here, a farmer keeps different lines, maybe on a particular line of boars for semen collection. You collect semen and put that semen to the market. So those form the main revenue channels of the pig farming business. Pig farming as a business has another product, which is not it's an important one, but we still need to think more in order to make this product more resourceful and more beneficial to the profitability of our farms, and that is the manure. For those who are doing co-production, of course, you get good benefit from manure. You can use it to fertilize the soils. Some people can sell it, but market has been a little challenging, though growing. It needs some kind of education. If farmers don't know why they should buy manure, of course, you will not have the market. A certain man said that customers don't know what they want until you give it to them. I think that was the guy of Apple. So until you show the customer what they need, many times they don't know. So manure, I believe, is a potential product that has not been packaged well and that has not been promoted well. But if we properly promote it, I believe it is another important revenue channel of the farming enterprise. So today what we are looking at is how you can distribute the products that you get from your pig farm. And the focus is on those 3 products that I just talked about. Of course, for non-Ugandans, you will forgive us. We are in Uganda, and I guess majority of the participants are Ugandans. But still, my friends from Kenya, Tanzania, and Rwanda, you benefit from this because we are very close neighbors. So we will be referring so much to Uganda, but the situation here is not that different from the rest of African countries. At least I've been following developments in majority of African countries. I think it is only South Africa that is a little different from whatever is happening in Uganda and the East Africa at large, or even other African countries. So I'll be so much referring to Uganda, and I beg your pardon. So the pork market in Uganda is a unique one. Here we have what we call the pork joints. I don't know whether those in other countries have come across something like that. But in Uganda, we have what we call pork joints. And most of the pork that is consumed in the country is actually consumed at pork joints. So at a pork joint is where you see someone crushing a full kilogram of pork and they have nothing to apologize about. So the consumption of pork in Uganda is very unique. And, it is mostly consumed fried and roasted. So there is very little amounts, very minimal amounts that are consumed at home. So that's why the focus, whenever you think about, selling pork, you should think about places like pork joints or other places of leisure, because it is not only pork joints, but also other pork eating places. There are top-notch restaurants that are also doing very nice ribs, very nice pork chops, and very nice pork muchomo. So most of the pork is consumed there. But like I told you at the start, probably the area of consuming pork at home is something that majority promoters of pork as a product have not thought about. And it's something that I and my friends have been discussing today. We haven't promoted it well, because if people don't know how to prepare this meat to a standard that makes them enjoy having it at home as well, they have no reason of buying it and taking it home. So this also means that we need to think more, we need to think louder on the different approaches to enable Ugandans and people elsewhere understand that actually it is also very nice to take pork home, because we have children here, we have our wives there. Probably they would also enjoy having a bite like you guys take at pork joints. Yeah. So pork is usually escorted by cassava, matoke, posho. For those who have visited, you've encountered something like this. It's something that might not be new to your eyes or to your ears. So I break a bit to admit new members. You'll forgive me for that. Yeah. Also, it is good to appreciate that Uganda has the highest per capita consumption of pork in East Africa. Some people confuse these statistics, and I hear them saying that Uganda is the best consumer of pork in Africa. My friends, you need to read about South Africa. Uganda is just one of those countries that consume quite a lot of pork, but it's not the best. And I even read somewhere, I think it was published by the Daily Monitor, that Uganda is next to China. There are countries that consume a lot of pork in Asia and Europe. So we are not even in the 100, I don't know, we are too far. We can't compare to any country in Europe or Asia. So we are still struggling. We are still struggling, but we are really very good consumers of pork. That I should appreciate. But of course, not very good producers, though we still stand out to be the best producers of pigs in the East African region, like we will be probably seeing later. On average, this is FAO statistics of 2011, so very old statistics. I assume that we have risen to something like 5 kilograms per person per year. If you can do some little mathematics, we have about 40, the population of Uganda is about 40 million people. So for me, I assume that our per capita consumption is about 5 kilograms per person per year. So if you multiply that by 40 million people, you need 200,000 tons, 200,000 tons of pork annually. I doubt if we produce half of this, and I'll be explaining as we go ahead. Sometimes we think that we really have a lot of pork, but I think that is not true. I should explain it now. I work at the abattoir as well, and majority of the animals slaughtered, you can also take off some time and visit the abattoir. Majority of the animals slaughtered are 30 to 35 kilograms. Okay? Majority of the animals, the pigs, majority of the pigs slaughtered are 30 to 35 kilograms. The statistics we have from UBOS, from the census that was carried out, I think, in 2017, we are told that Uganda has about 5 million pigs. So you can ask yourself, of these, which are sows? And that's why I always summarize it and say that Uganda has about an average of 500 sows, 500,000 sows, okay? Uganda has an average of 500,000 sows. So if each sow is able to litter 10 piglets, then we can come to something like about 5 million whatever pigs. But how many of our sows can litter 10 piglets? There are few of them. So it means that we might even be having more sows than I'm anticipating. And also, most of these pigs are not for slaughter. The tendency in Uganda is a farmer buying a pig to produce piglets for sale to another farmer who is also looking at producing piglets for sale to another farmer whose objective is also to produce piglets. So the cycle is producing piglets. There is no main focus on producing pigs for slaughter. So what we receive at the at the abattoirs are worn out sows. Sows that a farmer no longer wants on farm. They are tired, they are no longer productive to their expectations, and now they want these sows carried out. So this is what we receive at the abattoir. We also receive worn out boars, huge boars that are no longer productive, they can't mount. Boars that whose libido is very low, so they can't mount. Mostly useless boars. So the useless boars go to the abattoir. Another category of pigs that we receive at the abattoir, are the stunted pigs. So there's that category, pigs that are stunted. A farmer tried, but these animals couldn't come out well, so they decided to sell them off. And sometimes there are those farmers who underestimate the cost of the project. So in the middle, they run out of resources to feed their pigs. So when they run out of resources, they decide to send these animals to the abattoir. In summary, those are the animals the abattoirs in Uganda receive. Others would be sick animals. You know, there is a tendency in our country, when someone treats an animal and this animal doesn't get healed, they call the buyer. So we also have a lot of drug-burdened pork on market. So all this, that's why most of the time when I hear people talking about pork export, I pity them in the first place. And two, I feel ashamed of our industry, because maybe if you're getting it from a few particular farms in the country, our pork is not fit for export. It has a lot of issues that we, the locals, can only handle, but the export market can't. And this we will be handling in future. And this is the reason why, by the way, most of those special markets import pork, because they are never sure of the quality of meat that is produced within the country. That is the truth. And I'm telling you this from an informed point of view, because this is an industry that I survive in, and this is where I work. So I understand what I'm talking about. So the pork market. The pork market is divided into two categories. I don't know where the three came from. Should be two. These three here. So into categories. First subdivision is the ordinary pork market. And the second is the premium pork market. Both of these markets are very different. And your approach towards them must also be very different. If you're targeting to sell to the ordinary market, you must behave, or your approach in farm setup and management of your farm must be very different to someone who is targeting to sell to the premium pork market. What I can tell you, by the way, these subdivisions of market supply, even in very developed pork markets in Africa, these special markets, these markets apply to majority of the African countries. There is that particular market that the local production cannot supply in most of the African countries, except a few. But there is that category of market that the local production cannot supply. The local production cannot supply it because of very many reasons. And these reasons we'll keep understanding as we go ahead with the presentation today. So the ordinary pork market. I took this picture, and I should tell you that when you go to the pork joint, you will not see that picture. You will see roasted pork. But roasted pork or fried pork that is coming from such pigs. The ordinary market has no grading system. It buys whatever that comes, except for very light animals. Any animal that is 10 kilograms and above can be consumed by the ordinary market without any hesitation. Okay? And there is no speciality in parts sold. Like if you visited the pork joint, whatever you ask for is pork. So you are not particular that please give me the shoulder, give me the shoulders, give me the ribs, give me the chops, give me the tenderloin. That language doesn't apply. at such places. So it is uncategorized trading. There is no specific category that you can consider for particular products. So pork supplied to ordinary markets, of course, undergo the traditional slaughtering system. The traditional slaughtering system is characterized by excessive trimming of the carcass. Like if you look at this carcass, you can see how the belly has been removed. There is serious excess trimming. If you look at the tail, you can see how the tail is trimmed. And if you look at the legs, you can see how they are trimmed. And in the traditional slaughtering system, there is what we call the abattoir meat. So the trimmings from the belly, the legs, the head, the tail, the internal organs, all belong to the abattoir. So when you go to the traditional, when you go to slaughter your pigs from an abattoir that is slaughtering for the ordinary market, please don't go with those guys. That is the system, okay? They slaughter the pig, but they take the tail, they take the legs, they take the head, they take the internal organs, and they will not value for that. The difference with them is that they will not charge you for slaughter fees. So you're free from paying for slaughter fees, but you actually lose all the auxiliary parts of the carcass. The market has limited sensitivity to quality, and that's why it is the easiest market to sell to. They don't care about drugged meat, stunted meat, meat coming from stunted pigs. They don't care about sick pigs. They can undervalue, but they'll buy them, so they have no problem. There is no premium abattoir, which are just coming up. Not many are available in Uganda that can do that. So if you intend to supply a premium market, you have to look for the right place to slaughter your animals from. And if you can't slaughter from such a place, if you can't sell to such a place and you have your separate market or different market, you can go slaughter from such a place and you collect whatever that remains, then you pay some slaughter fees. It is the best option to take. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult for you because you pay money to raise the legs. The head also consumes, when the pig ingests food, the head also takes the nutrients, the internal organs takes the nutrients, the legs take the nutrients. So it would not look fair if these parts are not valued. So you must be careful about that. And this market mainly serves the pork joints. So majority of this pork ends to the pork joint, though because of the scarcity in supply of quality pork on the market, of course, these abattoirs also slaughter for the premium market sometimes. So the premium pork markets, I do hope that you understood what we just concluded about the ordinary pork market. And now looking at the premium pork market. The premium pork market is highly quality sensitive and hardly accessible by majority pig farmers in Africa. So it is a very unique market where value for money is demanded. When you sell to such markets, there is so much want to see value for money. For example, you look at this ham and compare it with compare it to the ham that we just saw here. Look at this. Look at this ham and compare it with this ham here. You can see that this ham is more meaty than the one we just saw. And this means this kind of meat qualifies for processing. The unfortunate bit with the kind of meat, with this meat, doesn't qualify for processing, even secondary processing, where you only want to get some special cuts, the ribs alone, the loin chops, etc., etc. You can't get them from this kind of carcasses. They are only bones. They are only bones. They don't fit for that. Okay? They don't fit for that. And so you can only get meat for processing from such carcasses, from these carcasses. You can see the meat, you can look at the loin, see the meat at the loin. So you can get very nice chops from here. And you can look at the lips, very well extended. So if you want to make lips, you can get very nice lips from here. If you want to make brisket, you can get very nice brisket from this belly. And if you want the shoulder, you can see how meaty shoulders are. Okay. So this is different meat, and this is the meat that qualifies for premium. Hope you do understand. If you look at the level of fat here, you can see that the back fat layer is very small here. This back fat layer is very small. And if you bought meat from the supermarket, we have some few primary processors in Uganda, but majority of the pork sold in the supermarkets, not sometimes even the supermarkets, but if you visited these top hotels and restaurants, usually the pork you eat is not processed in Uganda. It is imported products. So when you look at them, you see, except for the brisket, it has no fat. Okay? The skin and most of the fat under the skin is removed under this foreskin. So the skin, the whole of the skin, including the fat, is removed, sometimes up to the muscle. So if you have a pig that has a very big back fat layer, it means there is a lot of wastage. And so this is why such pigs do not qualify for processing, because there is a lot of wastage, and so the seller would be losing a lot. The seller would be losing a lot. Excuse me. I hope you understand. Usually in a premium abattoirs, all pork that is sold as premium, legs are usually weighed. If they're not weighed, they are valued. Okay? If they are not part of the carcass, the legs are valued. So this market, the premium market, is well segmented. Okay? We have the hotels. These usually buy from the processors. So the processors are also an independent segment. There are some hotels that have their own machinery. So they buy whole carcasses like you see here and do the processing themselves. I talk about this because I've seen it. This is part of my work. It's part of what I do. So I'm telling you what I've seen, what is taking place. There are hotels that have their own machines, so they can buy from the abattoirs or directly from the producer whole carcasses and do the processing themselves, the secondary processing. From the carcass, this slaughtering, removing the head, cleaning and blah, blah, would fall into primary processing. And then secondary processing, where you get the carcass, like this one, cut it into different chops. You get the loin chops, you get the different products that comes from the shoulder, you get the ham, you get the briskets, you get the ribs, maybe the spare ribs, you get the tenderloin, and you get these legs of the legs. That would be secondary processing, because you see these products on in the supermarkets and other shops that sell pork products. They fall under processed products. And then tertiary processing, where you have the ham made into the real ham, where you have the bacon, where you have several products that come from pork. Okay, so that is done by processors, but like I said, there are hotels that do that themselves. We also have the restaurants. There are restaurants that buy pork. They are very particular. And majority of these import, because even us, we do sell premium pork, but the consistency is very poor, because you don't have many farmers who are producing premium pigs in Uganda. There are very few. There are very few, so you can't entirely rely on them, except if you're going to use some imported products as well. Export. This is still a virgin market that almost nobody has tried out. But I've seen live being exported to Kenya, live pigs for slaughter. I don't know whether it makes business sense, but I think it is because of the logistics, because flying pork via air to Nairobi is quite expensive. And all you have to do is to use trucks. Unfortunately, if the cold chain is not proper, the pork might not reach, might not be good, like the quality depreciate during the transportation. So there is need to think more about that. There is also a very good market in Congo, but it is better, even in Tanzania. And another challenge, I think, with Kenya is that they have a very big pork processor there. So it is a little difficult, because exporting pork from here, it might reach Kenya with some quality deterioration, and maybe it might not fairly compete with the pork produced by the local pork processors in Nairobi. So that's also another challenge, but these challenges are business opportunities. So we just need to think more on how we can maintain a proper cold chain, how we can get more efficient trucks, meat transporting trucks, cold trucks, that can transport cold pork to the countries neighboring us, and it reaches when the quality is still intact, because the premium market is so much concerned about the quality of the products that you put on the market. Beyond that, the premium market demands for young and heavy pigs. Young and heavy, I mean pigs that are 20 to 28 weeks old. You know, like these pigs here, they produce tender pork. So very easy for the chef to use it for whatever that they want to use it for. And the meat is good, generally. You can see the color. The age, the color of the meat tend to a little change. So if you've the abattoir, at least you've seen that there is meat of this color and meat that has a color that is not so much related to this. So meat is very different in looks. It's very different from beef. But sometimes you see some pork meat that almost looks like beef. So that's what these markets tries to escape. It should be pork. And if it should be pork, it should be produced in the shortest period of time possible, 28 weeks. And the carcass must weigh at least 70 kilograms. Carcass must weigh at least 70 kilograms. For us, we take up to 65 kilograms. But to get very good meat for processing, the carcass must be at least 70 kilograms and above, and should be looking like this, not filled with the fat. Because also as the pig grows, its ability to generate muscle depreciates, and its ability to put on more fat increases. So you find that by the time it is 30, 34, 40 weeks, it has a lot of fat, more than what you're seeing here. So to also avoid that, you have to sell these animals when they are still young. There is something that Dr. Kizito of Bulemes usually say: you don't have to force a pig to grow. Forcing a pig to grow is very expensive, because you're not forcing it to put on meat. You're forcing it to put on fat. And unfortunately, our market doesn't appreciate fat. So never try to force a pig to grow, because it is very expensive. So when it clicks the 28th week, preferably 24 weeks, before it attains your ideal market weight, the best decision for you to make is to sell it. Okay? Whether it meets the weight or not, you sell it. Because maintaining it on farm means losing money. It will increase in weight, but of course, when slaughtered, it will have more fat than meat. In the premium market, quality is measured against age. Like I said, these animals must be 20 to 28 weeks of age. And also the level of the back fat layer, like you can see, it should be reasonable. Smaller back fat layer is the best for the premium market. Quality is also measured against drug burden. Like I said at first, that many Ugandans treat their animals, and when the animals fail to get okay, when they fail to recover, they call the buyers. And they never say that they have been injecting these animals with drugs, whichever drugs. Today we have a very huge concern about antibiotic resistance in human beings. For your own information, the active ingredients of most of these drugs used in veterinary, in animals, are the same active ingredients that are used by chemists to make our medicines as humans. So sometimes it ends up like you've ingested a lot of antibiotics from the meat that you consume, and then you need very expensive antibiotics to treat even very minor infections. So the issue of antibiotic resistance is becoming very popular. Beyond using antibiotics and other drugs excessively because of poor management, there are farmers who treat animals. When these animals don't recover, they sell the animals to buyers, and this meat ends up to the pork joints. So these are things that we must avoid if we really want to penetrate the premium market. And this is why I said that export of meat is very, very, very difficult. It's still very difficult in Uganda. There are other conditions, but our responsibility as farmers is very weak. The responsibility to the right use of drugs is still very questionable, and it's something that we need to work around to find a solution. Yeah, I guess that is well explained. If you have any question, I'll give you an opportunity to ask at a later stage. So we want to expound more on the premium market because, of course, it is the market of interest. You see, if you don't target to sell to these markets, obviously you will hardly make money. You will hardly make money from your pig farming venture. You will hardly, because the ordinary market is not that easy to deal with. And when you buy feeds, definitely you need to be sure that you're selling to the right market. If you buy feeds and do not sell to the right market, still you're losing money. These pigs must come, the sale must lead to some margin. It should not only be keeping pigs, but you must be making a margin. So there is a lot of difficulties, but like I told you, these difficulties translate into opportunities. In the premium market, the supply of pork is inconsistent. The supply of pork is inconsistent. And this is something that we can work around, to benefit from the market. It might look like a challenge, but of course, challenges present opportunities. So for me, I look at it as an opportunity for the investors who are investing in the premium market to make more money. We still have a limited number of processors. This also looks like a challenge, but it is an opportunity because beyond producing pigs, you can decide to vertically integrate and have a processing unit. You produce your pigs, slaughter them, and sell more products to the market. Okay? If you can't, you can still set up a processing unit as an independent business. You'll also be part of the pig sector, but actually not doing the real farming, but extending favorable markets to pig farmers in the country. Another good opportunity is that there is a 200-head abattoir that is being constructed. It is here in Matuga. And I think coronavirus affected the processes a bit. But work is still ongoing. I guess either they are done or they are still installing equipment. So very soon the abattoir will be operational. So premium pig farmers can easily sell their animals there. And another opportunity that looks like a challenge is there is no specialized transportation for both live pigs and pork. And this challenge has made it difficult to even sell pork to our neighboring countries. Rwanda, Congo. Congo is a little problematic, but still you can maneuver and find a way of reaching there. You can find a way. Kenya imports pork, and for them they have statistics. So if you, for Kenyans who are attending this coaching session, if you go checked with your national statistics body, you'll find that Kenya still import a lot of pork. And you will wonder where most of that pork goes. I will not tell you, but you will wonder. So you go make some research, you will wonder where that pork goes. Why not sell, export pork to Kenya and save them from importing from Europe and the rest of the countries? South Africa still imports over 20,000 tons of pork from the US and other countries. Congo imports a lot of pork from Europe, but we are here. And Rwanda imports, Tanzania imports Europe, unfortunately, and we are here. These are markets that we can take up. So I'm not fabricating stories. This is public information. You go make some research. You will tell me there are many countries in Africa that are importing pork outside Africa. So what can we do for that? For you Ugandans, I think that is a huge opportunity that we really need to look at and find a way of benefiting from it. You can decide, like I said, for the processors to set up a transportation system for livestock, not even pigs alone, but I see cattle, and these guys are very gruesome. The guys who transport cattle, I think they need to get saved. They are very gruesome. The way they transport those animals is terrible. At least we guys who transport pigs are more friendly because these animals die quickly of stress. So maybe that's why our guys are very friendly. But people transporting cattle, it is too gruesome. So we can venture into that if you have the financial muscle and make sure that the processors are assisted, but also the pork reaches the abattoir without bruises, questions of pigs jumping off the trucks and etc. Fears, with transporting breeding stock, animals reach with broken limbs and etc. So these are things that are available and they are investment opportunities in the sector. So we have only 3 big commercial farms with a combined production of about 1,200 tons. of premium pork per annum. Don't you think this is quite amazing? There are about 3 huge farms in the country. And when you combine their production, you can't get anything beyond 1,200 tons of pork per annum. And yet we said that the market consumes beyond 200,000 tons of pork. So if the market demands 200,000 tons of pork and people who are focused on pork production can only produce about 1,200 tons of pork, don't you think we have a problem? So majority of the pork that is consumed is actually the other type of pork that I talked about. The worn-out pigs, the drug-burdened pigs, pigs that have failed to recover from diseases after treatment, and the stunted pigs. So that's where we stand. And I believe you will think like me and do not see this as challenges, but rather opportunities, investment opportunities where you and me and maybe somebody else can make money from. Yeah. So we can still think more. It's sometimes called thinking outside the box. I don't know whether thinking inside the box is wrong, but people prefer that you think outside the box. So you extend your limitations, in other words. What about secondary processing? I already talked about that. I see many people crying about markets. But anyway, beyond the limitations of quality, for those who are in serious production, what about secondary processing? We get many calls of people wanting, for example, the most scarce products on a pig are the ribs and the loins. So we usually call them the middles, the ribs and the loins, the middle, the part between, the part between the arm and the shoulders, the middle here. The arm is usually cut from the last rib, and then we count about 3 to 2 ribs from the shoulder. So the part in the middle here is the most expensive. The loin here produces very few kilograms, I think like 10 from a full pig. And the ribs, very few kilograms, maybe like 5 or 7. Then the rest you have the pork brisket. So these are the most scarce products. And you don't know how many calls we get for ribs and loins and we cut meat. So if you can sell the middles at a good price, selling this very nice pork to butchers will also pay off. Yesterday I was speaking with a certain butcher. There is a new butcher, on Gayaza Road. I had a conversation yesterday. And they were commenting about a certain producer's pork. They were saying, yes, even though we can buy this cheaper, but this pork is unique. So meaning if that pork is available, they will rather go for it. And for a large producer, you still make money if they are willing to buy at your own conditions. And because the pork is good, you'll of course buy it. So how are you strategizing? You can focus at selling the middles. As simple as that. You can never fail. Like I said at the start, the customer, usually people don't understand what they need, what they want, until you show it to them. So if parents in Uganda get used to this kind of products, and the consumers also get used to such products, will know what to demand for. Of course, it comes with some kind of education, which we are willing to do. People like me, I'm really very willing to keep assisting. People will start to understand that actually this is the best way to consume pork. Because you're eating meat, it's not bones. You're eating meat, which is not common from ordinary carcasses. Okay, so back to our slide. You can see I talked about processing. I think that is done. The idea of pork shops. I have a friend who have set up one, and maybe you need to support him in, how is that place called? Naria, Yakobo's. My friend James. It's a very nice idea and very nicely prepared pork products. The pork sausages, the pork chops, the pork ribs, blah, 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 blah. These are ideas that we need to scale in the country. People don't know, but who told you that you should go to pork joint to buy pork for home? It is the only place you should go to. If people can buy pork from a supermarket, why not from a pork shop where they know that they will always have it fresh and they will always have it at a consistent quality? Hope I'm understood. That is also another great idea. The pork chops has very many products. It has very many products that you can get. One pig produces a number of products. So you have enough product profile to start up a pork shop without even mixing with other meats. The idea of the mobile cooking services, I have allotted myself, I have done, and we had what we called the mobile pork joint. That was our brand. We no longer do it because we are over-divided into very many things now. But it's something that we are looking forward to doing again. The mobile pork services, by the way, there are a number of people that I think we have inspired into this business. And with these coronavirus lockdowns, even the internet is giving a lot of support. There are many companies that are doing deliveries and etc. So with the mobile pork cooking services, you make pork, you roast pork, fry pork, whichever, for parties, for deliveries, etc., etc. And you come up with different products. There is also a number of products that you can get from pork, that you can cook, you can prepare from pork meat. This is a pork Rolex. So have you ever tasted a pork Rolex? Maybe no or yes. You test it and say if it is really interesting or not. So there are many products that we can get. These are only chops, pork chops prepared. So these are levels that we need to really look at together with the professional restaurants. There are some restaurants in town that mix up other meats and pork, but we need some unique restaurants where we can go, you know, and demand for that special quality pork professionally prepared. This is a service that we cannot, we pork lovers, we cannot get from an average pork joint. So these are ideas for us to really think about. It's taken a lot of time, and yet we still have a lot to discuss. So the time I've taken on pork was deliberate because it's the main product. Pigs are reared for the pork meat, not for anything else. But also we got to understand that the breeding section of pig farming creates a thriving industry. And that's why we cannot forget talking about it. But thinking that we are out of time, but let me quickly go through it. Maybe we still have some time. Then we can use the remaining time to ask a few questions, and we can call it a session. So the breeding pigs market. For Uganda, I told you I'll be so much referring to Uganda for non-Ugandans who are participating in this coaching session. Uganda has or is the largest pig producer in East Africa. With the population of pigs, we have very many. And you can see what UBOS gives us. This was done in 2016. But there is an ongoing livestock census. Maybe we'll get more accurate results. You can see Tanzania, about 1.7 million pigs. Rwanda, about 0.7 million pigs. Kenya, about 0.3 million pigs. But Kenya is unique in the way it does its census. So it's kind of unique in the way they do their census. It's more organized. Hope the guys, the ministry will be more organized this time in presenting the pig statistics. We don't need disorganized data. If there is anybody here who is working on the census, this time save from disorganized data. We don't want figures like Uganda has 4 million pigs. 4 million pigs of what? Of sows, of finishers, of piglets. We need categorized data. We need to know the sow population and the population of finishers. You can't test figures on us and expect these figures to help us in planning. So if there is anybody working with the UBOS and the Ministry of Agriculture, I'm sorry for being harsh, but that is the truth. You need to give us more organized data. Over 1.1 million households keep pigs in Uganda. And this is also kind of old statistics, very old information. So I believe the number of people raising pigs has as well increased. So imagine the kind of market we have. Not all of these are smallholders. There are some large farms, and more large farms are coming up every now and then. This is an opportunity for breeding stock. This means there is opportunity for breeding stock. You can sell breeding stock in East Africa. And you can see that all countries in East Africa are actually very serious with farming. All of them. I didn't mention South Sudan. I don't know whether Congo also joined or not. But I have friends in South Sudan who are producing pigs as well. So meaning the whole East African bloc produces pigs. And by the way, these guys are considering Uganda as a nucleus for good genetics. I don't know where they get it from, but that is the perception outside there. So we can use that great perception and sell to all the East African countries. I've seen Kenyans buying pigs from here, Tanzanians buying pigs from here, Rwandese buying pigs from here, Sudanese buying pigs for breeding from here. So this means that there is a huge market. There is a huge market for breeding stock. So it is something that you can plan to get into or see how to strategize to make business with these other East African countries. And the beauty is people make orders and organize their own transportation. It is not, it's not in any way similar to pork, because with the pork, you have to organize the logistics. But with breeding stock, the buyer organizes for his or her own logistics. So your role is to help them maybe process the required documents inside here, so they can transport their animals. And this is how it is done even elsewhere in the world. So the sector is shifting from small holding, subsistence kind of production to commercialization. And commercialization means that we are getting into a more serious category of farmers. Farmers who are sensitive about their production parameters, meaning they need to know the number of piglets that a sow can produce per year, the quality of meat, the growth potential, the feed conversion potential, etc., etc. So commercial means more consciousness to profitability and to avoiding losses, okay? The breeding pigs market. Main products sold includes gilts. Sows are not commonly sold, but gilts are put, okay, we will discuss that later. Gilts, sows, boas, and boar semen. The gilts and sows, these can be grandparent gilts. They can be parent gilts. The boas can be terminal boas, can be grandparent boas. And the semen can come from either the terminal boas or the GP boas. It is subdivided into two divisions. And this is the specialized market and the unspecialized market. This also defines the category of the industry that we have in Uganda. We have the specialized farmers and the non-specialized farmers. So the specialized farmers will demand for specialized genetics. The specialized farmers are equipped with information. They know what they want because they have a target product to put on the market. And they know the quality conditions or the conditions of the market that is going to buy this product from them. So they are hard people to sell to breeding stock because they actually understand what they are purchasing. The unspecialized market has their own judgment. They are not so much quality sensitive, and they actually do not properly understand what they are buying. They are buying a pig for breeding, full stop. They don't want to know the rest. So they are buying a pig for breeding. Is it big? Has it ever seen producing many piglets? Is it true or not true? That's none of their business. They'll buy the pig. So with the specialized markets,
You're muted, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I was saying that the specialized market is very sensitive with I think I'm prolonging the session, but I have nothing to do. Let's finish it. Let's finish it. The specialized market is quality sensitive. It's like the premium market in the pigs. So the breed type is no longer driver. So in the specialized markets, performance is key. Okay, you can make and you can blend your animals. You can give them anything that you want, but performance will always distinguish you from other genetics providers in the market. So the specialized market is more sensitive to performance. How many piglets do I get per sow per year? That's a huge question for the parent stock. Sow longevity. How many years can this sow stay productive on my farm? Those are the questions. How is the mothering ability of this sow? Does it win off majority of its piglets or not? So whatever, whether you mention this pig is called breed X, it is called brandy Y, brandy W, those questions must be properly answered. Otherwise, the name, the brand or the name of the breed will not make sense. Performance is key. When it comes to the terminal lines, how is the feed conversion ratio? How is the average daily gain? Okay. What is the killing out percentage? How much of the meat do I get when I slaughter this pig vis-a-vis the offal? So these questions must be answered. It doesn't matter what terminal line you're selling, whether it is called terminal excellent, terminal very good, terminal good, terminal XYZ, it doesn't matter. The results, the benefits, the value that the buyer is going to get from this terminal line matters more than the breed or the name of the line or the brand. So choice of lines depend on performance definition, and that I've very well explained. Buyers have a stock replacement strategy. Some market is guaranteed. For farmers who are producing high quality breeds for the specialized market, there is a guaranteed market because buyers always have a replacement strategy. You know, the performance of these animals is already defined. So I know that the longevity of this sow is 2 years. Is it 3 years? Is it 5 years? So every after a given period of time, okay, I have a percentage in my head of replacing these sows. I might be replacing with the 2 sows per year, with the 2 sows per month, depending on the size of my farm. So this means that the sellers have a consistent market, most especially if their buyers are not producing their own replacement stock internally. Quality is key. The unspecialized market, very easy. It is what we are. It's what we encounter on a daily basis. Has 2 market segments: the formal and the informal. So here you just go buy your pigs, start keeping, produce piglets like you're seeing here. Then a farmer will come buy the piglet. So quality depends on physical appearance. Like if your piglet is big, that is of good quality. If it is small, that is of poor quality. So quality is judged by physical appearance. So if you're targeting such a market, you should make sure that you produce big pigs. So if your pigs are big, then you're able to sell, because in the unspecialized markets, that's what defines quality. And I didn't explain the formal and the informal market. These piglets are mainly bought by fellow farmers who are replacing their worn out pigs, or they have sold out and they want to replace. The government and NGOs. These NGOs don't buy premium pigs for farmers and the government. So these are things that really need to change. Probably they think that they are fighting poverty, but maybe pushing people into more poverty. You can't just, anyway, I don't have to comment on that, but quality matters if you're to make money, of course. So these are the kind of produced, and government will give you business, NGOs will give you business. They also don't care. If the pig is healthy, the pig is big, looks good, then that's a good pig. Then they prefer names. You will find them saying, we want to procure landless and large white. But they even don't, I don't know whether they know the words they are talking, the names they are talking about, but I want Canberra, we want blah, blah, blah. They tend to be specific with the breeds, but in the actual sense, that's not how breeding goes. You can't just get a large weight from an average farmer. Where did he get it from? These are very expensive grandparent pigs that nobody in Uganda has, by the way, for your own information. Nobody will sell you landless, nobody will sell you large weight in Uganda here, nobody. You'll have to import them. But these guys will put them on their procurement details. And they will go convince people that they have bought them large weight, they have bought them landless. So that is a problem, and we have to really keep fighting. But because government and NGOs are involved, it will take us some time for people to collectively understand. But as people migrate to more specialized production, these will become obvious to them, because when you go into specialized production, of course, you need accurate information for you to make money. Otherwise, it ceases to be business. So the formal markets, the government, the NGOs will need the papers. So if you're this kind of farmer, you have to register your farm for taxes. Okay, you should not fear to register. Usually only 6% is charged withholding tax. So it's a negligible tax, about 60,000 from $1 million shilling. Then you can also contribute to the tax, to the tax collected in your country. I shouldn't comment more about that as well. So, yeah, you shouldn't fear to register. You should have invoices. You should make receipts. You should have trading licenses, because cattle traders licenses, because these guys need those documents to verify you. In fact, documentation is more important than the quality of the pigs. So make sure that you have very clean documentation. If you're going to work with NGOs and government, documentation and willingness to pay tax is very important. So make sure that you get collected documentation. Those people can leave someone with good quality things and go to someone who has poor quality but has documents. So documents are really very important. than even the quality of the animals. But giving them both quality and documentation, I think, makes a little more sense. Yeah. You should know that if you're into the unspecialized markets, market is seasonal. There is a time when you don't have market. And usually this market happens after major festive seasons. Christmas, all pigs have been eaten, so people are stocking. Easter, all pigs have been eaten, so people are stocking. There is some day that I don't want to mention. Still, there is a lot of, consumption there. Yeah, like that. Sometimes there are projects by Operation Wealth Creation. NGOs have a lot of projects. I think there has been very many adverts since the opening, the lifting of the lockdown. Many NGOs have been buying piglets, and I guess people have been making business if you have documents, because whether you have quality without documents and formalization, you might not sell to neither the government or the NGOs. And in this market, commonly sold are piglets. What I can advise before I leave this, you shouldn't stock this type of piglet fattening. Fattening is a marathon. I prefer calling it a marathon. You shouldn't subject a marathon to people whose potential you don't trust. You will not win the game. Okay? So you must have the best candidate for that marathon. Keep pigs whose performance is definable. Performance in terms of feed conversion. Because you can take such a pig and it needs the 400 kilograms to make 100 kilograms of live weight. That is way too high and you might not make money. It might be having a very poor killing out percentage. Grows big, but the percentage of offal is too high than the percentage of meat. So these must be definable. And its time frame, the time of growth, can it attain market weight between the 20th and the 28th week? If it cannot, you shouldn't keep it. And usually these type of pigs have no definable performance. So you might fall into a ditch if you don't take precaution. So finally, I'm a writer. I have a book called Farming Pigs for Money, sold in Aristoc and Uganda Bookshop. And also I have a new one coming on market. It is an extended book on commercial pig farming, mainly for large-scale producers. And with new science, we also have feeds, the concentrates, the pig 5% and the pig 25%. The pig 5% requires you to also get a good source for soy cake and sunflower, because this must be of good quality for this concentrate to do magic for you. The pig 25% is the best concentrate, very first-class proteins, but it requires you, is a little expensive in the formulations, but we completely have no headache for sourcing for quality soy and sunflower. And there is also Babista, which is a creep feed, which is fed alongside lactation, suckling. So you give it to the piglets alongside their mother's milk. This facilitates early weaning so that you get more parities from your sow. And it also protects the gut of the piglets from minor infections, usually infections that cause diarrhea. And also your weaning weights improve. So you have better weaning weights. So post-weaning mortality is also lowered down. I talk about them not because I'm doing work for them, but also I can testify they are really very nice feeding solutions for any farmer who is looking at pig farming at a commercial level. Otherwise, thank you very much for listening to me. I'll give opportunity to a few people to ask questions, and I will close this session at exactly 7 p.m. So we have a few minutes. I think we can use them. Sam, your hand has been up since we started the meeting, and I'll give the first opportunity to you. I'll ask whoever has a question to put up your hand and unmute, ask your question. I'll give you an answer instantly. For those who have asked questions via the Google Forms, I will be answering those questions in an independent session. There are very many questions, so I need to prepare something so that we understand in depth. I request you to keep asking questions because there we get detailed answers. Maybe in 2-3 sessions, we will organize in either July or August and have these questions deeply answered for you to properly understand. Sam, please go ahead and ask. Thank you very much.
Hello, good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I would like to ask you if you know any good farmer with good breeds around Mukono, because initially I had a project, it was called Tronic Project, and then someone poisoned my pigs. So I had majority of them are dead now, and I only managed to rescue 4 of them. And I would like to replace.
Sam, I beg your pardon. Please, I'll ask you to repeat the question. My computer, the volume has been very low, so I couldn't get you. You can please ask again.
Okay, good evening. I have one question, and then I would like you to help me in one thing, first and foremost. I initially had a farm, it's a Tronic project in Katose Mukono, and then someone went through my fence and poisoned my pigs. The doctors have done investigation and they have discovered that my pigs were just poisoned. I would like you to recommend for me good farmers with good breeds so that I can buy matured pigs to replace my pigs maybe by the end of this month. And then my question is, can you briefly illustrate for us swine erysipelas, because I don't distinguish the difference. There is swine fever and then swine erysipelas. I heard that swine erysipelas is curable, and then it is immunable also. Can you kindly distinguish for me the two? Thank you.
You're welcome. I can say there are different diseases. African swine fever has no vaccine, and erysipelas has a vaccine. So I want to really dig deeper into this when we are tackling the session on health. I don't want to dig deeper into it, but please come back and attend the session on health. We will talk, and the vaccines are available in Uganda, by the way. So you can always vaccinate your pigs against erysipelas. And African swine fever, nobody should deceive you that it has a vaccine. So we will talk more about that during the session on health. Okay? And on the side of breeding stock, I don't want to direct recommendation, and even when I give, I put a disclaimer. I don't work on those farms, so I cannot guarantee that they will sell you quality. Based on the information I have, I know that Some of them are really nice people who are very sensitive about quality. And that is my WhatsApp number. That's my personal WhatsApp number. And that sometimes I'm the one with the phone. So it's a WhatsApp number, but we commonly use it for business. I sent in messages. So you will contact me, send me a WhatsApp. I will forward some contacts, and please, you do your due diligence. I don't, not because the contacts, you just trust them because I gave you the contacts. I don't work on those firms, and I can't guarantee that they will give you the quality you want. So make sure that you do your due diligence. Don't blame me if things go wrong. Yeah, very much. Mr. Secretary Gerald, please go ahead.
So some my challenge, one, first of all, I thank for the presentation. Thank you very much. Then the question goes, what is happening in Uganda, most especially starting farmers? We are challenged by what you tell the person to eat such and such an amount, and then someone says it's impossible, and they must drive us to be saving, we give them grass, bind and so on. I would like to please help me, because my mind is this hub, and having seen this, I have to join immediately.
Gerald, excuse me. Gerald, can you please write the question in messages? Your internet is, your connection is breaking, and I can't get the question clearly. Can you please type it in a message? So, as you type, I will attend to some that are already in messages as you type. Okay, let's finish with Mr. James Rubinga.
Thank you so much. My challenge is still on balls. Getting really a good, it has been a challenge because that's something I wanted to put on a farm. If you can also recommend that, that would be so good for mating of our guild. The second question is about which kind of record keeping would you recommend on farms? Is it about the technical aspects of food or sales? And are there software that you recommend we can use on farms, especially if you're going commercial, other than just writing in books? Thank you.
Okay. Mr. James Rubinga, I think we already connected on WhatsApp. I have developed some record keeping templates. We will again have a session here on record keeping where we will discuss that in detail. But in case you need them, urgently, please let me know. Send me a WhatsApp message. I will forward you the record keeping templates. Then we will have a discussion during the session of the record keeping for you to understand the in-depth of record keeping analysis and use of the information to make sounding farm decisions. So I will share the record, and whoever wants the templates, I will share with you. Then we will have a session on record keeping later. Yes, now let me add, okay, let's finish Infinite Hot 10, please. If you're the last one, then I'll attend to the questions in messages.
Okay,
Yep.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
My name is James Obo.
Yes, James.
Thank you for the presentation, and it has been very informative. My concerns are three. One, I would like to respond to it in a form of a comment. During your presentation, you said many of us farmers are focusing on production of piglets, and as opposed to production of premium pork or pigs for slaughter. I think the biggest concern here, given my own experience, is because there is no streamlined market for premium pork or pigs that have been produced for slaughter. In terms of value addition, very few farmers have reached there. And you find that the middlemen, or the people who come to buy pigs or to buy pork from the farm, tend to pay very little money to farmers. And in that case, farmers really find production of piglets much more profitable compared to producing pigs for slaughter or for sale for slaughter. I personally have tried it, and I've seen if I produce my piglets in 2 months, between 2 months and 2.5 months, I get much more income from the piglets compared to keeping that piglets for 6 months, and someone comes to the farm and wants to pay you 9,000 per kilo. Does not honestly add up economically. That's one. It's a comment. So what I think as farmers, we need to still put our heads together and see a way forward on how to add value to this pig, to our products, and probably sell pork to consumers compared to selling to these middlemen who make it not profitable to produce for slaughter. Then my second concern is on the issue of breeding. Though this has not been the session for that, but I just wanted to bring it in so that next time, if we are in the right session, we can elaborate more about it. AI success is still a challenge. We had the PNR farm that was giving us very good semen, much as the challenges were there, but the few successes, the piglets are doing so well, and all of a sudden they went off, and really we needed some clear answer on how we can go about that. And lastly, I heard Sam, he's my neighbor, I think he talked of Katosi. He had a farm there. Mine is in Nachisunga. Actually, I have my guilds from my farming company, and they have used semen from PNR before they closed, and I also used semen from Vetline Services here in Mukono. So I have quite good quality of animals. So if he's interested, can link up with me and we have a chat and prepare for a safe farm visits, and can see what I have on the farm. Thank you.
I will surely. I'm sorry. I will surely. I've got your contact. I will surely link up.
Thank you
so much.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you for the comment, James. But I don't want to leave it without also, making a rejoinder or commenting, on the same. Yeah, however much I agree that the prices are poor, but also we must agree that the cost of production is also very high, and sometimes not high because it has to be high, but because we subject expensive feeds to poor genetics. So we end up using a lot of money to produce a pig, and then we can't extract that money from the pigs, raised. But putting that aside, I do agree with you that access to premium markets is not a privilege to every farmer, given the fact that majority pig farmers who are trying premium are actually doing it on a very small scale. Like if you're doing pigs from up country, where you have only 5 pigs, they are of premium quality, but you need to transport them to Kampala. The local market in Gulu, Lila, or wherever do not understand premium things. They only eat whatever that comes on market. So that's very different. So we need also to think about how to bulk these premium animals and send them to Kampala. The only premium markets I know are in Kampala, and I'm very willing to support you if you cannot access that market. But all I can assure you, like now, there has been a lot of very cheap pork on market. Cheap pork, why? Because people have been doing panicky sales. There is an outbreak of African swine fever in most of the districts around the central region. And people have been doing panicky sales. So the prices of pork have gone down. But this doesn't mean that they will not go high again. So with these farmers who are selling, some of them are selling premium pigs. They are not selling because their animals are sick, but because they fear that their animals might get sick. So you must put all that in consideration and make sure that you sell at the right time. Don't do panicky sales, and make sure that your farm is properly protected. Your biosecurity is sounding and you won't get infections, most especially the African swine fever infection. On the side of semen, maybe I see Emma putting up his hand. He will throw more light on their issues with PNR. But on the side of semen, we are trying to see how to bridge the gap. We are getting semen from Choice Genetics, and the first batch is reaching Uganda, landing here next week on Friday. It will be available Friday morning. So we have gilts and sows to inseminate on Friday, Saturday, but more we are looking at testing to see how this thing might work. So we will do synchronization. We will inseminate the sows that will be on heat within that period. And all we want is to examine how this will come out. I do agree with you that the conception rate in artificial insemination are still poor. But this can't be blamed on semen alone. There are other factors, and some of these factors are contributed by farmers. The issue of poor heat detection, the issue of poor nutrition, the issue of stress in pigs. These are very important issues that an inseminator has no control over. So it is you, the farmer, to really, do your job and then lead to the success. The inseminator's role and the semen source, they only have to ensure that the semen that is put into the reproductive tract of your pig is quality semen, is viable semen, that's all. So the handling must be proper from collection to delivering to inseminating the pig. That's what the inseminator must be concerned about. So the rest is contributed by you. So the success of this service depends on both farmers and the semen source and the artificial insemination technician. So these are things that we should continue to think about. That's why for anybody benefiting from the Choice Genetics semen, we need to first take you through some kind of information sharing so that we are sure that we can achieve some success. But before we go to the questions in the messages, and I think we will do, I'll ask you, Emma, to be brief. It's good that you're here. You can, I don't know whether commenting or having some questions, but you can go on, please.
Thank you very much, Chris. My name is Kavgo Emmanuel. I'm from PNR Farms Africa Limited. PNR Farms Africa Limited will be bringing their products for pork on market in August. We are currently establishing the slaughter facility, and when it is ready, the product will be on market very soon. And someone was asking that they were getting good semen from PNR, but all of a sudden, PNR disappeared from the market. The point here is that the founders of the farm decided to concentrate in one line of producing the porkers. At first, they wanted to have different products, which included the porkers, semen, and then the breeding gills. But after they realized that their efforts were divided, so they decided let's concentrate in production of porkers because there is a huge market in Uganda that is being untapped. That's why they went off the market. But maybe in the future, if the opportunity comes up, maybe they will come back. But the good thing is that Mr. Chris is bringing a new innovation of choice genetics, so we can use that chance to improve our breeds. You talked about some issues about the premium pork market, and I wanted you give us some summary about who are the big pork buyers in Uganda, where are they located, and what are the standards they require for them to buy from you the pork. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Emma, for throwing more light. There are standards, of course, these guys are looking at when they are buying from you. And I listed some of them, like the weight of the carcass. The carcass must be heavy. Most of them prefer 70 kilograms plus. And every process, of course, would prefer 70 kilogram carcass. The meat must be cleared for human consumption. So the meat must be inspected. There must be a meat inspector to stamp and write a veterinary, clearance for the carcasses that they have checked. And also, the meat should not be disease burdened. It should be free from diseases. It should not have drug traces. Some people inject pigs and thereafter slaughter them. So it becomes very difficult. For the list of the buyers, we deal in pork, Emma, also. Some information is difficult to just share here, but of course, we can have a chat. I'll be able to share some information, but we are also a section of buyers. So if we can talk nicely, there is a potential market to you right now. So we will discuss. These are people in Uganda, no need of hiding anything, and nothing is in competition, because I know you cover up the Ugandan market. I so much doubt. So we will discuss, and I will let you know. I'll give you even the contacts that I have in possession. So we will see. So probably this is the last question. Messages. So Amos, please use primepork.co.ug, not pigfarmers.co.ug. We are starting farmers find challenge of what people talk about what we are going to do the first time. Please help people like me to be so comfortable with the decision, especially when it comes to input. We discussed this in the first session, Gerald. I don't know how we are going to handle, but this is a very lengthy discussion. I will request you to go to my YouTube channel. That training is there, that recording is there. I believe you'll get answers, but alternatively, we can arrange a private meeting here on Zoom, and I will try to pour some more light. Our time is fast spent, for sure. And I don't want to go further than this. I thank you so much for creating time for this session. And I would like to remind you that these sessions are powered by the New Science Concentrates. So it's New Science that is supporting these initiatives, if you like them. Otherwise, I would make you pay. But they are supporting these initiatives. So I thank you very much for taking part. I hope that the information shared today has been helpful to you, and it will help you make your farming more profitable or more better. We will thank God together, maybe later in future. Thank you very much. Christopher Mulindwa is my name, and I wish you a nice and fruitful weekend. Bye-bye.